Hi there, I'm Bob Spoor. I'm the founder and director of Meducate Academy, and this is
Mark Reynolds, and I'm a senior associate clinical educator and trainer working with Meducate from the beginning.
From the very beginning.
Yeah.
And let's go back to the beginning, because Meducate Academy's now been in business for 5 years. It's our 5-year anniversary, which is why I'm shooting this little short video, just to get people up to speed with what Meducate have been doing and what we plan to do in the next 5 years. So, how's it been for you, Mark, working for Meducate?
It's been great fun. I mean, like I say, I was there at the beginning. At the beginning, it was just you and me, wasn't it?
That's right, it was just the two of us.
Out on the road and getting things going, and now we've got a great team of people working with us.
Yeah.
And it's just grown exponentially, really.
It has grown exponentially.
Fantastic.
I think you're right there.
Yeah.
And if we go right back to the beginning, I think one of our first jobs we did together was for Wolverhampton University.
Yes.
And that was just prior to the whole COVID thing kicking off.
Absolutely.
At the time, working as an ACE with students on the Physician Associate Programme at Wolverhampton.
That's right, and we still are working.
And we're still there, we're still working there.
5 years on, still very busy with them.
5 years on, very busy. They've got a new cohort. The course is growing. It's now under the directorship of Professor Kenny Langlands, and the course lead, of course, is Teresa Dowsing, who we remember as a student.
Absolutely. What's happened with us, isn't it? We're now actually being employed by students that we trained up back in the day.
Yeah, over 10, 12, in my case, 12 years ago, and I think 14 for you.
Yeah, I think I started as an ACE in 2008, so
Yeah.
14 years, yeah.
And just to make it clear to people what the ACE acronym's all about, it's an Associate Clinical Educator. People who are trained in body systems examinations. It enables us to give feedback to the students when they're performing an exam.
So we're lay people who know exactly how body system examinations are carried out, so we are part of the teaching process, but only insofar as we teach the students how to do the examination properly. We don't teach them any pathologies or why they're doing anything. We hand them over to the academic clinical teaching team for that.
Yeah, and that would be outside our remit.
Absolutely,
Yeah. So
it has to be recognised, Bob, the input we also have on clinical communication training as well. So apart from teaching students how to physically examine us in the body systems, we're also teaching them how to be good communicators. When they're taking a history from a patient, or breaking bad news to a patient, or coming up with a management plan for the patient. And also, I don't know about you, but I teach a load of clinical communication while I'm doing the physical examination.
I think it's part and parcel, isn't it?
They talk you through it.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it as well, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever two people interact, there's communication. And we're sort of, I guess we're experts in communication as well as the physical examination process, if you like. So you make a good point there, Mark.
And of course we're working mainly with physician associate students, which might be worth talking about as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked with a whole range of physician associates now over the years. As you say, some of them we're now working for: Teresa Dowsing, Pete Gorman, James Ennis at Chester.
Yeah.
Because shortly after we worked with Wolverhampton, we also started working with the physician associate program at a fairly new PA course at the University of Chester on the Riverside campus, with none other than James Ennis, who was a student,
Indeed.
I believe, of yours, really.
Yes.
Of your period.
He was there when I started off,
Yeah. And he's gone now to great things at Chester University, and the course is building and growing each year. And obviously there's another aspect to what we do at Meducate. We're also involved in assessment. It's often called upon to actually assess the students' performance in terms of not just their communication, but obviously their physical skill sets as well. And it's quite nice to be involved in the process from start to finish, essentially.
Absolutely, and in the OSCE environment, it's well recognised that although the clinical assessor can see the examination is being carried out, sometimes they can miss things. We can point out that it wasn't done properly.
Correct.
Or something was missed, and they can't actually see that, but we can feel it, and give that extra mark or not.
So we have that third-person perspective on the whole situation, which allows us to give more information to the examiner. Something else I was thinking about, we're not really a business either, are we? It's more of a team effort. So when we work with universities such as Wolverhampton and Chester, we're seen and we feel very much part of the team, the teaching team. So we don't go in as your typical corporate sort of approach at all. It's more about education. And I think what people will find, and I have found over the past 5 years, particularly the ACEs who are now working with us, have now number about 10 or 12, that it's a family. I mean, it sounds a bit
well, we all
soft,
get on, don't we?
We all get on, and we all. The key thing is we enjoy what we do. We're all very passionate that we perform to the best of our abilities and give a good account of ourselves. And the feedback has shown that from the 2 universities we're currently working with. The feedback has been incredible. You know, with regards to the students working with the ACEs. I don't know. I mean, you've had feedback personally. I know I have. But I know James Ennis, when they do their student assessment, the individual assessment, they always talk about how much fun they had working with the ACEs. Less pressure from an ACE.
Because we're not academics, I think they find it a lot less scary. And because we work with them regularly, you kind of form a kind of a connection with them and help them to grow and learn. Really.
Yeah, it's a different kind of bond, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And I find that students will often share things with us that they wouldn't share with the academics. Personal stuff that obviously is confidential.
And it has to be said, really, Bob, that you and I teach the Twinkle, and many of the others do as well. You know, we create a pleasant atmosphere. I believe strongly that students learn more if they're enjoying themselves, so we make sure that it's a pleasant teaching atmosphere, safe and supportive, and with a bit of a twinkle. Yeah,
and I another thing I find as well, students will hang back after a session has officially finished and spend time with us.
They will.
I can cite one example of a student spending time after the class had finished going through percussion with me to develop their percussion skills because the environment was quieter.
Another thing that strikes me is the amount of students that find us on social media and become contacts after they graduate and keep in touch and let us know how they're getting on, which is great, you know.
So I mean, we're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the website, the blog. I mean, literally.
We're not on TikTok yet.
We're not on TikTok yet. I think we're holding back on TikTok. I have personal opinions on TikTok. I'm sure it's a lot of fun, but what we're doing is quite serious work, although we like having a laugh doing it. And that's another side to it. We're very light-hearted in our approach, and as you say, we have a twinkle in the way we train.
But we're firm but fair with our feedback and teaching, I think, as well.
So we can't be seen as a soft touch, as it were. No. The students need to be working at a high level. At the end of the day, they're medical healthcare professionals. And we draw the line at certain things, and of course we also give feedback on that. Inappropriate behaviour, inappropriate dress, for example. So what we're doing is not just teaching them skills, i.e. communication and physical skills, but we're teaching them how to be authentic, to speak with their own voice, but in a safe way. So they don't offend patients. And they can spot the signs. They'll learn to spot the signs when a patient is sad, happy, and the various states that patients will be in when you're actually working with them, which is one of the strengths of the guys we've got. All of our ACEs are actors. So they're highly skilled actors, able to perform at an extremely high level and a number of different things, from mental health, suicide, all the way through to simple things like, I've got a bit of a cough, doctor. You know, you smoke too much.
Do you think as well, I mean, we're not in their peer group, are we? We're old enough to be their...
Well, I'm old enough to be their granddad.
I wasn't going to say that, but I think that has a bit of an impact too, don't you think, Bob? Because, you know, we're senior in age. And that's different, isn't it? Rather than working with people their own age.
That's right,
That's got to have some sort of impact, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, of course. I mean, some of the students have fed back to me. They practice on each other, as you know, because they're trying to, increase their skills. But obviously, as one student said to me, it's a bit like the blind leading the blind. We don't know what we're doing either. So when somebody does a respiratory exam on me, I think I know what they're supposed to be doing, whereas we do. We base all of our training on the OSCEs, obviously, and on safe practice, because we work with and had close relationships with many clinicians over the years, worked in a number of fields. I mean, fairly recently, we worked with registrars, we worked with physiotherapists, we worked with dentists even in the past when we've done work for the University of Birmingham. Pharmacists is another thing.
Pretty much every clinical group, really.
Absolutely. And recently I was doing work with conflict resolution with a GP surgery in Stratford upon Avon, as well as doing some remedial work with physician associates at a GP practice in Birmingham. So the message is spreading.
Yeah.
So that's what brings me to the next thing, Mark, the next 5 years. You know, as you've said, exponential growth up to date. Where we're going from there. Obviously, I think it's going to be exponential. I mean, we were probably one of the few training companies that kept going through COVID. Something I wanted to mention earlier on, actually, and I forgot. Whilst other universities seemed to close their doors and shut their courses down, we were able to work quite closely with Chester and Wolverhampton to produce some high fidelity teaching online. Which brought up some remarkable situations, such as Pete Gorman came up with the golden 2. You know, what should you be doing with that 2 minutes
before you go into the room?
Before you go into the room in an OSCE station, and that's something we're going to expand on and probably produce more workshops on. So if anybody out there is interested in improving their communication and understanding how do we pass the OSCE, you know, what's the skill set? Well, we can talk about the 2 minutes and how important reading that question actually is.
When we were originally trained as ACEs by Professor Jim Parr, one of the things he was very keen on was us teaching students to steer away from the typical student errors, particularly for OSCEs, and avoiding the things that go wrong, you know. And
that's the other thing. Not only do we know how to do it correctly, we know where things are going wrong. We've seen that. Well, how many times have we seen mistakes being made?
We've got 30 years experience of OSCEs, haven't we?
And I mean, I remember chatting to you once. We could easily write a book about a funny thing happened on the way to the OSCE. Some of the situations, which of course we won't go into on here, but maybe that's something that I can do over the next 5 years, is put this book together.
But the same student errors happen over and over again unless you steer people away from them.
That's right. Yeah, and it's having the knowledge and the experience, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And all of our ACEs have a lot of experience in a number of different fields.
You talk about the next 5 years. I mean, what I'm sure you'd agree with what we want to do is get the ACE roll out to more and more universities.
The certification.
More medical schools.
And the certification.
And the certification of us, yes.
So, because...
To be able to hold up that bit of paper and say, this is what I am, this is what I do, you know.
And it's recognised as well. Yeah. So with that in mind, actually, we are in the process of creating a certification process with the help of Professor Jim Parr. And this will ensure that the standard, the quality of the ACE instruction is going to be at the highest level. And I think that's one place where it's certainly one space, if you like, where Meducate definitely fits in. It's been a big passion of mine to ensure that the standard gets better and better, and that we don't allow things to slip through the net. So every year we run a training for the ACEs, for the experienced ACEs. And the intention is to have this as a regular thing to ensure that our ACEs are high fidelity. They really do know what they're doing. The certification is in process. The book which came to mind.
I've written a book about the ACE role.
And Mark, of course, has written a handbook which the ACEs actually use as an aid memoir. And that's been around for a while now, hasn't it? You and Professor Powell.
It'd be nice to get it published.
It would be nice to get it published.
And I could say I was a published author.
He could say that. And it would be another feather to his cap. Obviously,
to go with the other one.
To go with the other feather. So growth in the next 5 years, I think, is something that obviously we're keen to. And as Mark alluded to just a few moments ago, getting out there to the other universities to show them what we can do. So, we're always available to put workshops on, to have a quick chat online, on Zoom, or even just the old-fashioned telephone call.
Does anyone do those anymore?
Well, the old phone calls, I don't know, it all seems to be emails. But my number's always there, it's on the website, and I'm always open to a conversation. And at the moment we're talking to quite a few institutions and organisations. I recently did a podcast as well, the PA podcast. It's something you might want to check out. I believe that's online. and that was with a very friendly James Catton.
It was.
Who's a lovely PA working down in East Anglia, I believe it is. So we'll be going down to that neck of the woods, Bury St Edmunds, sometime in July to put on a workshop and demonstrate our skill set. But I think that's about it, isn't it, Mark?
I think yes, yeah.
I just want to...
Thanks for watching.
No, thanks for watching, taking up a few minutes of your time. And again, as I said, if you want to give us a call, you can do through any of the links that you'll see in the information that I'm going to include with this video. So thank you very much.
Thank you.